Let's jump right in.
When you think about top secret stuff, your mind probably goes to, military blueprints or maybe the source code for some crazy new software. But what if I told you that one of the most hunted secrets out there is, well, it's something a lot more organic?
In fact, this is a secret that foreign governments have poured years and resources into stealing. It sparked these massive, countrywide FBI investigations.
Yup, corn. But not just any corn. We're talking about these incredibly advanced proprietary seeds that are the result of billions of dollars and just years and years of research. And the story of how they were stolen, it honestly plays out like a Hollywood spy thriller.
See, this story isn't really about farming at all. It's a tale of economic espionage, of corporate insiders, and a genuine threat to national security. That all started, of all places, in the dirt of an Iowa cornfield.
So the whole thing unraveled back in May 2011. A field manager for DuPont Pioneer spots this guy, Mo Hailong, literally on his knees digging up seeds in a protected test field. When he's confronted, Mo gives this flimsy story about being from a local university and then just bolts. And that one single sketchy moment, it kicked off this huge FBI investigation that ended up exposing a multi-year conspiracy. And what's wild is just how precise this whole operation was. This was not some random smash and grab. Mo, who was working for a Chinese company, had insiders at major U.S. seed companies feeding him information. We're talking the exact GPS coordinates to these secret remote test fields where they were growing these incredibly valuable inbred seeds. Think of them as the pure parent lines with perfect genetics. The goal was simple: steal the parents, ship them to China, and basically reverse engineer decades of American research.
And you gotta understand, the FBI did not see this as petty theft, not at all. This was treated as serious economic espionage. Stealing this genetic material meant a loss of something like 5 to 8 years of R&D for these companies, and it was a direct shot at a multi-billion-dollar American industry.
But this whole spy drama brings up a much bigger, more fundamental question. Why is a seed considered a national secret to begin with? I mean, it's a living thing. It's something humans have cultivated and shared for thousands of years. This case really forces us to stop and ask, what even is a seed anymore?
And this is where we get to two completely opposite ways of thinking. On one side, you have the corporate view. A modern seed is a piece of high-tech, a proprietary invention that cost a fortune to develop. It's intellectual property. But then, on the other side, there's the view of a seed as part of our shared heritage, right? A natural resource that belongs to everyone and should never have been privatized.
And make no mistake, the U.S. government has made its position on this crystal clear. Just listen to this quote from the FBI's Assistant Director of Counterintelligence. He said, "These seeds are vital national assets, putting them in the same category as any other critical technology. And the power to control these assets is incredibly concentrated. After a wave of massive mergers, by 2020, just 4 giant corporations, including companies like Bayer, which swallowed up Monsanto, ended up controlling most of the global seed market. That gives a tiny handful of companies an almost unbelievable amount of power over our entire food supply."
So what happens when you start treating seeds like proprietary tech? What are the real-world consequences? Well, it turns out the price of protection looks very, very different depending on where you're standing.
From the corporate and government point of view, the cost is straightforward. The heist that Mo Hailong pulled off was estimated to have cost DuPont Pioneer at least $30 million, not to mention all the lost research time. So for them, protecting these assets is about preventing direct economic harm and securing future innovation.
But there's another cost. A much, much bigger one, some would argue. As the seed industry consolidated and started focusing on just a few highly profitable, patentable crops, we witnessed a catastrophic loss of biodiversity. A staggering 93% of the seed varieties that were sold back in 1903 were just gone by 1983. That kind of genetic erosion makes our food supply way more vulnerable to things like disease and climate change.
And the way these intellectual property laws actually get applied in the real world, well, it reveals what you could call a pretty fascinating and maybe even troubling double standard. It becomes really clear when you look at 2 major legal cases side by side.
So on one hand, you've got the spy, Robert Mo. He intentionally stole patented seeds for a foreign power. He got caught and he went to prison. Makes sense. But then you have the case of Percy Schmeiser, a Canadian farmer.
Monsanto's patented seeds literally blew onto his fields from neighboring farms. He didn't buy them, he certainly didn't steal them. But Monsanto sued him anyway for patent infringement, and the courts sided with the corporation. They ruled that the power of the patent was more important than the farmer's right to his own property.
So, what's the big takeaway here? In our current legal system, the rights of the patent holder are supreme. It doesn't really matter if you're an international spy or just a farmer dealing with some accidental pollen drift from your neighbor's field. The patent wins. Period.
So all of this leads us to a major fork in the road. It presents us with two totally different paths forward for the future of our food. Path number one we could call the fortress. That's where we double down on protections, we ramp up surveillance, and we continue to treat seeds like state secrets to protect corporate R&D. The other path is the commons. This vision is all about creating a shared, accessible pool of genetic resources, a seed commons that can't be locked down by patents, encouraging biodiversity and innovation from everyone. And that second path, the commons, it's not just a nice idea. There's a real-world movement called the Open Source Seed Initiative, or OSSI, and it uses this really clever legal pledge that's attached to all its seeds. The pledge basically says, hey, you are free to use these seeds any way you want, but in return, you have to promise that you won't restrict anyone else's use of them or anything you breed from them. It's like a patent that works for the public good.
So we're left with this huge fundamental question. The spy in the cornfield proves that agricultural innovation is incredibly valuable and totally vulnerable. But the farmer who got sued for windblown seeds shows us the potential cost of that protection. The real challenge is, how do we create a system that actually rewards amazing research without walling off the genetic diversity that our long-term survival absolutely depends on? That right there is the billion-dollar question that grows from a single kernel of corn